Good afternoon, boys and girls. Today we are going to be learning about types of coins and how to identify them. Can anyone tell me what this pile is?
A pile of coins.
Okay. What is something that you use coins for?
To buy stuff.
Okay. Have you ever used a coin?
Yes.
Okay. What have you used a coin for?
The ice cream man.
Okay. Anybody else? Has anybody else ever used a coin? Yes.
For the gumball machine.
For the gumball machine. All right. So we are going to, each one of you have a bowl in front of you. And in that bowl you have 10 pennies, 5 dimes, and 5 nickels. And we are going to look at each one of them and see if we could come up with a characteristic to separate them from the others to help us learn how to identify them. So why don't you go ahead and take out one of your pennies. And while I'm creating this, we're going to create a web organizer. And while I am making it, I want you guys to look at your penny and just kind of study it and see if there's anything you might recognize about it. Okay, can anyone tell me what this coin is called?
A penny.
Okay, just by looking at this coin, what can you tell me about it?
It's small.
It's small. What color is it?
It kind of looks orange.
Orange or bronze, but it's really called copper. So we're going to write copper on our web organizer. What else can you tell me about it? Does anyone recognize the person who's on the front of the coin?
Abraham Lincoln.
Okay. Does anybody know who Abraham Lincoln is?
He was a president.
Okay. Can anyone tell me, does anyone know anything about him? Maybe something that happened during his presidency? Does anybody remember?
Abolition of slavery.
Okay. Does anybody else remember something that might have happened before he was able to finish his term in presidency?
He was killed.
He was killed. It's really called assassinated. Does anybody know who he? Does you remember who he was assassinated by?
John Wilkes Booth.
Let's turn it over to the back side. There's a building on here. Has anyone ever been to this building before?
No.
Okay. Do you recognize the building and what it is? It's the Lincoln Memorial. Okay, we're going to write that on our web organizer. Does the coin have any writing on it?
It says 1 cent.
It says 1 cent. What do you think that's supposed to mean?
How much it actually is worth.
How much it's worth? Okay. Does anyone else see any other writing on here?
It says United States of America.
Okay. What do you think the words United States of America represent on our coin?
Where it's made.
Where it's made, yeah. Where you are allowed to use it at. If you take this out of the country, out of the United States, you wouldn't be able to use it there to purchase anything. You can only purchase stuff with it in the United States. Alright, so why don't you go ahead and put that coin down and pick up the biggest silver one that's in there. And I'm going to start this organizer, the web organizer for it. And while I am doing that, I want you to look at it and see if you can distinguish any characteristics about it. And we're going to discuss them. Okay, can anyone tell me what this coin is called? It's called a nickel. Okay. Let's see. Just by looking at it, what can you tell me about the coin?
It's silver.
It's silver. It's a very good observation.
It also says United States of America.
Yep. So that means we can only use it in the United States if we want to purchase something. Can anyone tell me who is on the front? The person that's on the front of it?
Thomas Jefferson.
It's Thomas Jefferson. Does anybody know who Thomas Jefferson is?
Is he another president?
Yes, he is the third president of the United States.
Wasn't he one of the writers of the Declaration of Independence?
Yes.
It
All right,
says liberty.
Let's turn it. It does say liberty. What do you know what liberty means?
Freedom.
It means freedom. It represents the word freedom represents the freedoms that we have in the United States. Let's see. Let's turn it over to the back side. There's a building on the back. Does anyone know what that building is?
It's the Monticello building.
Okay. What is the Monticello? Do you know? Do you remember?
It's one of Thomas Jefferson's plantations.
Yes. That means that plantation means that's where he grew up. That's where he lived. Right. On the back side of the coin, right below the building, there's the word Monticello, and then right below that there's two words that say what? Can you read them?
5 cents.
Okay. What do you think that's supposed to represent?
How much it's worth?
Okay. And how much is it worth?
5 cents.
5 cents. Okay. All right. Now we're going to put the nickel back, and we're going to take out the smallest coin that we have in our bowl. And I'm going to start creating the web organizer for it. And while I'm doing that, I would like for you guys to look over your coin and see if you can come up with any characteristics that might distinguish it from the other two that we have looked at today. All right, we have our organizer here. Can anyone tell me what the name of this coin is?
Dime.
The dime. All right. Just by looking at it, can you tell me about it?
It's silver.
It's silver. If you take out a nickel and a penny and you hold all three of these up to each other, which one's the smallest?
The dime.
So the dime is the smallest coin that we have. So we're going to put smallest on our organizer.
It also has a man.
Okay, does anybody know who that person is that's on the front of the coin?
Franklin D. Roosevelt.
Okay, and does anybody know who Franklin D. Roosevelt was?
He was also a president.
Yes, you're right. He was also a president. Okay, let's turn it over to the back side. On the back side, does anybody see anything that might separate it from the rest of the coins?
There's not a building.
That very good observation. There is not a building. That will definitely help us identify it as being a dime and not a penny or a nickel. Do you know what those are? What those symbols? There's 3 symbols there. Do you know what those 3 symbols are?
A torch.
One's a torch, okay? Do you know what the other 2 are?
An olive branch.
One is an olive branch and one is an oak branch. Very good. Okay, so let's go ahead and review each of the values. How much is the penny worth?
1 cent.
Okay, how much is the nickel worth?
5 cents.
And how much is the dime worth?
10 cents.
Awesome. Okay, now we're going to take our coins and we're going to dump them out on our table. And I want you to line them up from least to greatest value. All of them should be in one big straight line. Okay, so just because we have more pennies than we do dimes, does that mean that our pennies are worth more than our pile of dimes?
No.
Nope. How many, can you count for me? Let's count together how many pennies that we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 pennies. And how many dimes do we have?
1, 2,
3, 4, 5. Do we, and how much was the dime worth?
10 cents.
So let's skip count by tens, starting with the first one, and let's see how much we have. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So we have 50 cents worth of dimes and 10 cents worth of pennies. So which one is worth more, the pennies or the dimes?
Dimes.
Okay, let's do the same thing with our nickels. Let's skip count. How much are they worth? 5 cents. So let's skip count by fives. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So how much are our dimes, our pile of dimes worth altogether?
50 cents.
Not our dimes, I'm sorry, our nickels.
25
cents, okay? So we have 10 cents worth of pennies and we have 25 cents worth of nickels. So which one has more, the nickels or the pennies?
Nickels.
Okay, very good. You guys did very well today. So let's review one more time. How much is our penny worth?
1 cent.
1 cent.
How much is our nickel worth?
5 cents.
And how much is our dime worth?
10
10
cents.
cents.
All right, very good.